Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today we're looking at something really special. It's an extraordinary journey, exploring a devoted 77-year-old listener's lifetime of really quite profound spiritual experiences. And this isn't just, a collection of stories. It feels more like a personal account, a testament to unwavering faith and the incredible impact spiritual masters can have. So our mission today is to kind of journey through her experiences, see if we can uncover the wisdom within them and understand these intricate connections between actions and destiny. We're looking at it all through the lens of one family's pretty remarkable spiritual path. And just to be clear, as we explore these narratives, we're really articulating these experiences and the insights she draws from them exactly as they're presented in her spiritual tradition. We're not endorsing or, refuting specific claims here.
Absolutely. And what's really compelling, I think, is how these very personal anecdotes, these stories, they seem to illuminate deeper principles. Things like karma, spiritual practice, the legacy of enlightened beings. We'll be trying to connect the dots, between ancient wisdom and these very tangible life events that span generations. Hopefully drawing out insights that might resonate with you, the listener.
Okay, so our listener describes herself as a longtime student of Khun Kru Mai Yai. That translates to the Great Master. Her connection goes way back, decades ago, to the lineage of Luang Pu Wat Paknam Bhasicharoen and Mae Chee Chandra Khonnokyoong, who she affectionately calls Grandma Yan. Let's start with Luang Pu himself. Some of the abilities attributed to him, as our listener recalls them, are, well, they really push the boundaries of what we think is possible.
Yeah, they definitely do. One of the earliest things she remembers is from 1952. Luang Pu gave her husband a first-generation powdered amulet, and she recalls Luang Pu telling him, "Keep it well, this amulet can dissolve in water," which is a strange thing to say about an amulet.
Right, you'd expect it to be durable. Exactly. But according to her account, true to his word, it did dissolve later on.
Interesting.
And it wasn't just objects. He was apparently known for helping find lost things. Our listener, when she was a young woman, lost this really precious necklace, ruby, diamond, emerald, a family heirloom from way back in the Ayutthaya era.
Oh, wow. That must have been devastating.
Totally. But Luang Ku, apparently, without even seeing it or needing a description, just told her it was in the house, not lost. Something is covering it.
Did she find it?
She did, under some books in a storage place, exactly where, he reportedly indicated it would be.
That's quite specific.
Isn't it? Then there's another story about a close disciple, Lun Pleng, who lost a ring. Now, Luang Pu was very ill at this time, apparently bedridden, but he just told Lun Pleng, "I will help you find it."
Just like that, while sick in bed.
Just like that. And a few days later, someone from a completely different province shows up and returns the ring to Lun Pleng's house.
How does that even work from his perspective?
That's what our listener wonders, too. How could a man so sick, seemingly, orchestrate something like that?
It certainly challenges conventional explanations.
And his influence, according to her, continued even after his passing. She herself got a really severe viral infection of the heart valve. Doctors told her twice she had a 50-50 chance. Imagine hearing that.
Twice. That's terrifying.
In desperation, she clutched a statue and an amulet of Luang Pu, just praying intensely for his help. The very next morning, she says, the doctors found this, quote, miracle drug from abroad. One injection, and her symptoms vanished.
Vanished. Completely.
Completely. And her prognosis changed from 50-50 to 50-100, which apparently meant fully recovered in that context.
Wow. If we try to frame this within the tradition, these stories seem to point towards something like Iddhavita. These are, extraordinary abilities or psychic powers developed through really profound meditation. It's not seen as magic, like pulling a rabbit out of a hat, but more a deep mastery over the mind and sort of subtle energies.
So the 50-50 becoming 100.
Exactly. From this perspective, it's a powerful example suggesting that spiritual intervention, when combined with a person's own accumulated merit, might defy conventional odds.
That's a really profound way to look at it. And it actually brings us to our first key insight, doesn't it? Insight. Defying the odds through merit. That experience she had, the 50-50 prognosis turning to 100, seemingly through faith and intense merit making. It's a powerful reminder. It suggests that when you're facing really severe challenges, immediate and sincere spiritual efforts can, at least within this tradition, potentially alter outcomes dramatically, even against what doctors might predict.
It's a compelling idea about the interplay between inner practice and outer circumstances.
Now, one last little intriguing detail about Luang Pu's blessings. Apparently, he had a unique way of giving them. He gently thumped men's heads with his fist.
Thump them. Okay.
Yeah. And for women, he would blow on their heads. She always wondered why the difference.
Any explanation given?
Well, she understood the main purpose was just to make everyone feel comfortable, at ease. But on a deeper level, the belief was that this was a subtle way to sort of implant a spiritual foundation right in the center of their bodies.
A spiritual foundation.
Yeah, the idea being it would help ensure their wishes for success and well-being would actually manifest.
Interesting symbolism in the actions.
Definitely. Okay, so let's shift focus a bit. Let's talk about Luang Pu's brilliant disciple, Mae Chee Chandra Khonnokyoong, Grandma Jen. Our listener first met her at Wat Paknam back in 1970. And what's really fascinating is she says she instantly recognized her from childhood.
Recognized her from years before.
Yeah, she remembered her distinct eyes and walking style. Apparently, Mae Chee Chandra walked very fast.
Really? Why so fast?
She actually asked someone at the temple, Patuam, who managed the food there, and the answer was pretty illuminating. Patuam said she walks fast because she has to hurry to do Dhammakaya Vija with Luang Pu, meaning Luang Pu.
So it was task-oriented walking.
Exactly. Like she was on a spiritual mission, couldn't waste time. Patuam even added, "This Mae Chee is very good at Dhammakaya Vija." Sounds like she was a real spiritual power walker.
A power walker for enlightenment, maybe.
Maybe. And later that same year, 1970, our listener went back to the construction site of what would eventually become Wat Phra Dhammakaya. She saw Mae Chee Chandra there, starting with just one monk, encouraging people as they dug the very first bit of soil on Makabucha Day.
So right from the very beginning of the new temple.
Right from the ground up. And she notes that the temple's incredible cleanliness and orderliness today really reflect Luang Pu's own habits. He was apparently often seen sweeping at Wat Paknam.
So Mae Chee Chandra wasn't just inheriting teaching, she was embodying the values, the practices.
Totally. Carrying his spirit forward in her own actions. There's also a sweet little anecdote about respect. Once our listener respectfully sat down, hands together, to let Mae Chee Chandra pass by. And Mae Chee Chandra, who usually rushed everywhere, actually stopped, which was unusual.
Oh, what did she say?
She asked, "Who taught you to sit down and put your hands together like that?" When our listener said it was her mother, Mae Chee Chandra praised her, saying, "Oh, your mother taught you very well."
That's lovely. It highlights that continuity, doesn't it? The lineage isn't just abstract ideas, it's discipline, depth, practical values, even simple etiquette. And it brings us back to that key phrase, Dhammakaya Vija. How does one actually do it? What is this inner knowledge Mae Chee Chandra was supposedly so good at?
That is the perfect question, because it really gets to the heart of their practice. Dhammakaya Vija, the inner knowledge. Remember Luang Pu, the disciple who lost the ring? He was apparently allowed special access to Luang Pu's Dhammakaya Vija workshop, sort of an inner circle. And he described listening to the master's talk, but it sounded like riddles to him.
What did they say?
They were constantly asking things like, is it subtle enough? Or make it heavier, make it more subtle, back and forth.
Heavier, right. Abstract stuff.
Totally abstract to an outsider.
Yeah.
One time, Luang Pu asked him to go check the sky. Luang Pu went out, saw it was cloudy, came back in. A bit later, Luang Pu asked him to check again. This time, Luang Pu reported it was clear.
Oh, the clouds had gone.
Apparently. And Luang Pu just nodded and said, make it even more subtle.
Make the sky more subtle.
Exactly. Luang Pu confessed later. I felt like a madman. I didn't understand anything they were talking about. It just completely blew his mind.
You can see why. For someone not initiated into that practice, those phrases, subtle enough, make it heavier, applied to, well, seemingly external things like the weather. It sounds bewildering. But for practitioners, perhaps these exchanges describe a very precise, systematic refinement of inner spiritual perception, like fine-tuning the mind to access and maybe even interact with increasingly subtle spiritual dimensions or energies.
That makes sense in context. And then there's that other story about the invisible amulet. Luang Pu apparently struggled for years trying to make potent amulets the conventional way. But eventually, he developed his Dhammakaya Vija ability. He took an amulet he'd made to Luang Pu. Luang Pu, without doing any obvious ritual, just looked at it, handed it back, and said it was done.
Done, just like that.
Yep. So Luang Pu, curious, tested it. He showed it to some spirit mediums.
And what did they say?
They claimed they couldn't see it. It was like it wasn't there for them. That's what they said. When Luang Pu told Luang Pu apparently explained, Pling, those with wrong view, Michadithi, cannot see it.
Michadithi, wrong view. So this implies the amulet's power, or perhaps its very perceptibility, operates on a level beyond ordinary sight. And that wrong view isn't just about, say, holding incorrect opinions, but maybe a fundamental misapprehension of reality that literally obscures certain spiritual truths or energies from your awareness.
So the power was in the vija, the inner knowledge, not just the physical thing itself.
That seems to be the implication, yes. A very different way of looking at sacred objects.
Definitely. Our listener also asked about something called the 7 jewels, the Ratana 7, used in Dhammakaya Vija. She was told these are explicitly not the same as the jewels of a Chakravartin, a universal monarch, which are more about worldly power.
Right. Those are symbols of righteous worldly rule. So what are these Vija jewels?
They're understood as, well, highly potent spiritual instruments, manifestations of perfected inner wisdom and energy. Masters supposedly use them for really profound spiritual tasks like subduing Mara, which means overcoming negative forces or temptations, purifying karmic obstacles, guiding beings in higher realms, that sort of thing.
So tools for high-level spiritual work, essentially.
Exactly, and apparently only those with really deep spiritual maturity and specific inherent dharma elements can actually wield them. It's not something just anyone can pick up and use.
Requires a certain level of inner development. Makes sense.
Okay, so let's shift gears again and unpack this family's incredible journey now. We're talking triumphs, challenges, and some really profound karmic lessons playing out over generations. Let's start with the parents' legacy. The father, he was a diligent rice mill owner from Ayutthaya. Known for being generous, especially during floods, he'd give out rice to the poor.
Oh, acts of generosity. That's often significant in karmic terms.
Right. Apparently, he married our listener's mother somewhat out of duty. Her father, the listener's grandfather, pressured her to marry him to care for his kids from a previous marriage. He lived to be 80.
Duty and responsibility there, too.
And the mother, she was described as very diligent, very charitable, always making merit, always encouraging her kids to join in, taught them proper etiquette, too. She passed away back in 1976.
Another person focused on merit and good conduct.
Exactly. So looking at these lives, what insights can we draw from the spiritual perspective about their karmic outcomes? Where are they now, according to this view?
Well, based on the information provided and interpreting it through this lens, the listener's father, because of that extensive generosity giving rice during floods, helping the poor, and his general merit in supporting Buddhism, he's understood to have been reborn as a handsome heavenly deity, a deva, in a golden palace, specifically in the second stage of the Tavatimsa heaven.
Tavatimsa heaven. Okay. And he's doing well there.
Yes, apparently he continues to receive the merit that his family offers to him, and his divine wealth and status there are continually increasing.
Wow. And the mother, with her diligence and charity.
Her path is understood to be even more elevated, primarily due to her profound merit from actually practicing Dhammakaya Vija during Luang Pu's time. That specific practice carries a lot of weight in this tradition. So she's believed to have been reborn as a beautiful heavenly goddess in a golden palace, but in a special zone called Dusitburi.
Dusitburi, what's special about that zone?
It's particularly associated with advanced bodhisattvas beings dedicated to enlightenment for all and high-merit practitioners deeply connected to the Dhammakaya lineage. Spiritual development is said to continue there at a much faster pace.
So a higher destination due to her deeper practice.
Precisely. She's also receiving the merit offered and is apparently currently meditating peacefully within the palace of a great heavenly deity there.
What beautiful, distinct outcomes reflecting their specific actions and merits. Okay, now let's look at the listener's devoted husband. He faced some serious health issues later in life, developed diabetes, and in his last year, liver abscesses. He also became nearly blind, only about 20% vision left.
That sounds incredibly difficult, especially for someone described as devout.
It does. But despite all that, he remained a steadfast follower. Listened to the spiritual programs daily, even when he couldn't see properly. Made merit enthusiastically right up until he passed away peacefully in October 2005.
A strong commitment despite adversity.
So the question arises, given his devotion, why did he face such difficult illnesses? What does this tell us about how karma works, even for the faithful?
This is a really crucial point in understanding karma from this perspective. It's not always simple. His diabetes and liver issues are interpreted as the ripening of past karma, specifically from killing animals for food in previous lives, and also residual effects from consuming alcohol, perhaps in past lives within agricultural societies where that was common.
Okay, so consequences from past actions related to harming life and intoxicants.
Yes, and the near blindness in his old age. That's traced back to a specific past life where he apparently caged fish in dark containers, like clay jars, probably for storing them before eating. The darkness inflicted on them manifested as darkness for him later.
Wow, that's very specific cause and effect.
It often is in these detailed karmic analyses. But here's the key part. Despite these ripening karmas causing illness, his unwavering devotion and merit-making had a profound impact on his death and rebirth.
How?
Because he passed away with a clear, bright katinamit, that's a positive mental image or sign arising in the mind at the time of death, often linked to accumulated merit. This clear state allowed him to be reborn as a handsome heavenly deity in a golden palace, also in that special Dusitbury zone, like the listener's mother.
So he reached the same high destination despite the difficult end-of-life illnesses.
Exactly. And furthermore, the merit from a Kathina ceremony, a major offering ceremony, and a golden Luang Pu statue that the family offered just 4 days after his passing had an immediate effect.
Yeah.
It instantly increased his heavenly wealth and comfort in Dusitbury. He's described as being incredibly happy, inspecting his new divine treasure.
That's amazing, an immediate result from the merit made after his death.
Yes, and he apparently has a message for the family.
Oh, what is it?
He wants them to keep making abundant merit, all types of merit, so they can eventually all be reunited there in the Dusitbury zone. And he specifically asks for more merit to be dedicated to him because he has now directly seen how powerful and beneficial it is.
So the takeaway is, past negative karma can still ripen, causing suffering even for the devout. But strong faith, merit-making, and a clear mind at death can dramatically influence the rebirth, leading to a very positive outcome. And merit dedicated after death still helps.
That's a very good summary of the principle illustrated here. Devotion doesn't erase past karma, but it powerfully shapes the present and future path.
Okay, now let's look at the next generation, the sons. They seem to be on quite different paths, but share this incredible spiritual legacy. The eldest son is described as highly intelligent, was even a top student nationally. Now he's working successfully in communications over in Canada.
Sounds like he's doing very well conventionally.
He is. So what's the karmic background for his success and intelligence, according to this view?
His brilliance and worldly success are seen as stemming from past lives where he made significant merit, specifically related to education supporting learning for children, and also for monks and nuns. That, combined with strong general generosity. He was also apparently part of the support team, a supply unit for the Dhammakaya community in past lives, making merit quite fully then.
Ah, so past good deeds related to knowledge and support are bearing fruit now.
Exactly. However, there's a note of caution in the present.
Oh.
Currently, he seems to be relying very heavily on his own intelligence and his own efforts. He feels quite self-confident because of his career success, which is understandable. But from a spiritual perspective, he's considered somewhat careless in his practice right now, too absorbed in work, maybe taking his spiritual foundation for granted.
So the advice for the listener
Is to gently, remind him not to get too caught up in the worldly success. Encourage him to remember the importance of continuing to make merit, to keep cultivating that spiritual side, not just rely on past momentum or current intellect.
A gentle nudge needed then. Okay, what about the second son? His story starts even before he was born. The listener had specifically prayed for another son. And she had this interesting dream. She dreamt of a like person.
Like the Thai folk theater. Very vibrant, colorful figures.
Exactly, a sort of flamboyant theatrical character leading a child to her in the dream.
Okay, an unusual dream image.
And then as a child, this son loved to play monk. He'd get a fan, pretend to lead chanting.
Inclinations showing up early.
Right. And he grew up to be exceptionally filial, incredibly devoted to his parents, especially his father. Always called him Papa Jaw, a very affectionate term. Took him to doctors, helped him constantly, even carried him physically when he couldn't walk anymore, right up until his father's last breath.
Wow, that's deep devotion and care. So how is all this interpreted? The dream, the childhood play, the filial piety, well, the dream first. That vision of the like person leading a child is seen as a positive omen, a bupanimit. It indicated that a virtuous being, someone with good spiritual qualities, was coming to be born into the family.
So the dream figure wasn't negative, despite being maybe unusual.
Not necessarily, no. It was a sign of a positive arrival, and this leads to an important piece of advice given in the text. If you desire a virtuous child, the recommendation is to actively accumulate all kinds of merit yourself, generosity, keeping precepts, meditation, and then sincerely dedicate that merit with the wish for such a child. Making vows to specific deities or spirits is sometimes discouraged, as it's believed that might occasionally attract less desirable or lower-level beings who respond to vows, rather than a high merit being attracted by your own accumulated goodness.
So attract virtue with virtue.
Essentially, that's the principle. Now, his childhood inclination to play monk and that profound filial piety, these are seen as stemming directly from strong past life connections with the Dhammakaya community. He's believed to have accumulated merit in past lives, both as a monk and also as a lay supporter, a patron, so the connection is deep.
And the filial piety, caring for his father so devotedly.
That specific virtue comes from having done similar things in past lives, having cared for his own parents devotedly before. This creates a karmic pattern, ensuring that he, in turn, will always receive help and support when he is in need. What goes around comes around, quite literally here.
That makes sense. Does he have the potential to actually ordain as a monk in this life?
Yes, the analysis says he definitely has the accumulated merit to ordain. Whether it's just for a short period or potentially for his whole life, it would depend on his own intention and decision.
Interesting path ahead for him, potentially. Okay, one more family member. The adopted daughter. She was adopted when she was 11, and now she's 47. She diligently cares for the listener, and she also cared for the listener's husband before he passed.
Another example of strong family bonds and care, is there a past connection there too?
Yes, according to the spiritual analysis, they were actually parent and child in a past life.
Roles reversed perhaps, or just reconnected.
Reconnected. In that past life, she was apparently a bit of a rebellious teenager, even ran away from home for a while.
Oh dear.
But eventually, she returned, reformed her ways, and importantly, she also made merit together with the family in that lifetime.
So despite the earlier troubles, the positive connection and shared merit were strong enough to bring them back together.
Exactly. That past connection, the shared history and merit, is seen as the reason she came back into the family as an adopted child in this life, fulfilling that caring role again. It shows how these karmic threads of relationship can endure across lifetimes.
It really paints a picture of lives deeply interwoven through past actions and connections.
It really does. And this brings us back full circle in a way to the listener herself and her own serious illness, that viral heart valve condition. We heard about the miracle recovery, but what was the underlying karmic cause of the illness in the first place from this perspective?
Right, the cause and the cure. The illness itself was understood to be primarily caused by negative karma from past harsh speech.
Harsh speech.
Yes, frequently saying things that hurt people's feelings deeply. That kind of verbal action can create negative health karma, particularly related to the heart in this view. That was combined with some residual karma from killing animals for food in the past.
So hurtful words having a physical consequence later on.
That's the interpretation. But then the recovery that was powerfully aided by positive karma ripening at the right time. Specifically, her merit from regularly offering food and medicine to the Sangha, the monastic community. That merit, combined with the focused power of her prayer and Luang Pu's blessings she invoked, created the conditions for that unexpected recovery.
So a combination of past negative karma causing the problem and past positive karma plus present effort providing the solution.
Exactly. And the advice given to her to mitigate any remaining negative karmic potential from those past actions is to continue making all types of merit, generosity, precepts, meditation, but also to specifically practice releasing animals, like buying fish from the market and setting them free.
An act of giving life.
Precisely. And to consciously dedicate the merit from all these good deeds, specifically to those she may have harmed in the past with her words or actions. This is believed to directly lessen the weight of that old negative karma.
A targeted approach to clearing karmic debts.
Yes. And it really reinforces that earlier insight we talked about, the one drawn from the 50-50 turning into 100.
Insight. Defying the odds through merit. The lesson being, when you face that kind of grim news, don't panic. Instead, immediately focus on remembering past merit and making even more merit right now. And through that focused spiritual effort, the seemingly fixed odds can potentially change.
It's a message of empowerment through mindful action, even in dire straits.
Absolutely. So this whole deep dive into the family's experiences, it really shows how intimately connected our present lives seem to be with past actions and how powerful spiritual guidance and crucially diligent merit-making can be in shaping things. What are the key takeaways we can maybe distill from this intricate family saga? Things that might resonate with our own lives, our aspirations, our daily choices?
Well, one practical point comes from the story of the second son's birth and that dream.
Right, the Like figure.
It leads to this insight. Attracting virtuous children through merit. The listener's successful prayer for a virtuous son, followed by that positive omen dream, suggests that the most effective way within this tradition to attract high-merit beings into your family isn't necessarily making vows to specific deities, but rather cultivating diverse merit, yourself being generous, living ethically, meditating, and then making a sincere intention, a prayer, dedicating that goodness towards having a virtuous child. Your own accumulated merit acts like a magnet.
That's a proactive approach. Makes sense. What about encouraging others, like family members who might be less inclined, like the eldest son, perhaps?
The family's journey gives clues there, too. It underscores the importance of being a kalyanamitta, a good spiritual friend. The advice isn't to nag or pressure them. It's more about consistently making your own merit, keeping your own practice strong, and then praying for them with a clear, peaceful mind. And then, patiently, gently, when the time feels right, invite them to join you in doing good deeds. Set the example, extend the invitation, but don't force it.
Lead by example and gentle encouragement. Got it. The narrative also seemed to put a lot of emphasis on specific, powerful acts of merit, like creating that golden Buddha statue for the meditation building.
Yes, that was highlighted. Creating such a statue is considered an act of immense merit. Why? Because it establishes a strong, positive karmic connection with Dhammakaya Vidya itself for countless future lives. This connection is believed to lead to positive results like physical beauty, wealth, intelligence, and crucially, the inner qualities needed to successfully practice and progress on the spiritual path.
So it helps pave the way for future spiritual attainment.
Exactly. It's said to facilitate easier access to the inner Dhammakaya, the body of enlightenment within, and a deeper understanding of this profound spiritual knowledge when you encounter it again in the future. It's like planting a very potent seed.
A long-term spiritual investment.
You could put it that way, yes. And finally, there's the overarching theme of the connection to Dusitburi. The fact that both the listener's mother and husband, despite different lives, both ended up in that special Dusitburi zone points to their deep, continuous karmic link to the Dhammakaya lineage.
A shared destination through shared practice and connection.
Right. And the message is that by fully committing to all forms of merit-making, generosity, morality, meditation, and continuously holding that aspiration, that prayer, they, and by extension, anyone who chooses this particular path and follows it diligently, can strengthen their connection and increase their chances of rebirth in that special zone, the realm associated with bodhisattvas aiming for the highest enlightenment.
It really speaks to the power of consistent, intentional spiritual practice over a whole lifetime, and maybe even across lifetimes.
Absolutely. It all comes back to that question. What kind of seeds are we sowing right now with our thoughts, our words, our actions for our own future and the future of those we care about?
So there we have it, a really personal, quite inspiring deep dive into one family's journey through decades of faith, challenges, and connection with spiritual masters. We've seen, through their story and this specific spiritual lens, how karma might unfold, how blessings can sometimes seem to defy the odds, and how unwavering faith and merit-making are viewed as transformative forces shaping destiny across generations.
Yeah, this account vividly illustrates that idea that our path isn't just fixed, but it's actively shaped by our choices, our intentions, and our connection to spiritual wisdom, however we understand that. The insights from this case study really remind us that continuous effort in cultivating goodness and making merit and holding a clear intention can potentially lead to remarkable outcomes, not just for ourselves, but maybe even for our whole lineage, affecting those who've passed and those yet to come.
It really does make you think. And perhaps that leaves us all with a final, provocative thought to ponder. If our present is in some way a reflection of our past actions, and our future is being shaped by the choices we make right now, what intentional steps can you take today, starting now, to actively cultivate the life, the family connections, and maybe even the spiritual path that you truly aspire to? Something to consider. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep connecting the dots.